Hey everyone, this is Corinne Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know how we do it here on Between the Lines, always starting my show off with gratitude or thankfulness. And I just want to say that I'm so thankful to be here above ground, to be visual to you after so long. For a whole year, I wasn't visual. And I just took a break from showing myself on camera. And then I decided, you know what? To hell with it. I'm going to come back on camera and show myself to my guests. And some of them have been asking for it because they feel uncomfortable not doing it. So I'm thankful to brace myself and show you guys what I look like and match the face and upper half of the body with the voice. Okay, so you get to see my cool hair, blonde and bright, dark skin, glasses and everything, two-tone. I'm telling you all the deficiencies that some people will see. So once I say it myself, nobody else can try to criticize it. Okay, acceptance, people. So besides thankfulness and or gratitude, is also acceptance. So I really am thankful for being here and having my wonderful guest. So you see what a lovely piece of artwork behind him. You have to tell us about that. And his name is Sanju gang&lani. And let me tell you a bit about him before we go into it and what we will be talking about. So we're talking about digital marketing. It's more than just your website. Let me repeat that. Digital marketing, it's more than just your website. And a bit about Sanju, being an entrepreneur for most of his career, Sanju understands what level of dedication and support is necessary to help make a business successful. For over 10 years, gang&lani Media has been serving the global business community across Canada, USA, Europe, and Africa. They specialize in serving B2B and B2C clients requiring assistance in marketing. So I know a lot of you guys out there need this. And with a primary focus on SEO, SEM, lead generation, paid ads, social media design and branding, print and website development. So let's welcome Sanju to Between the Lines. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Good, good. So let's start off with digital marketing. Give us a definition or your definition of digital marketing, because we hear that word thrown out there. And especially with the pandemic and everybody moving virtual, we need to understand really what it means. It may have started off with a particular concept in mind, but as the environment evolved and is evolving faster and faster as we see, digital marketing is being broadened more and more. So you tell us, what is the definition, and maybe project about the next 5-10 years into the future and what you think digital marketing is going to include in the next 5-10 years.
For sure. I think it's a great question, actually, because you're right. Over the past 12, 15 months, the whole definition and the whole evolution has occurred towards digital marketing, right? And there have been a lot of lines that have been blurred, and a lot of lines have been drawn. So the way I look at it in 2021, digital marketing is anything that looks to create revenue for your business and generate leads or a pipeline. That's really what it's going to be about, I think, this year. Just because everyone's in recovery mode, the focus is how do I kind of get my business back up to normal? How do I get my revenue back to where it was? And how do I reach the audience that'll get me there, right? Because behaviors have changed and people aren't going into stores, for example, as much as they used to, just because they can't. People, a lot of the generations, the older and the younger, have gotten a lot more used to buying online. So I think that whole fundamental shift in how we buy and how we purchase is trending towards defining digital media this year, at least, as lead generation, really, hand in hand. I think going forward, what it's going to morph into is a lot more relationship building. So being able to create associations and create affinity to brands that are digital versus bricks and mortar or through print.
Yeah, I see that. And I'm thinking with persons who were not au fait with even marketing, to even talk about digital marketing, and they now have to go online. They're learning. Some people are still in the learning mode, especially those parents who were very traditional, and now they have to deal with their kids at home. They're actually learning as a result of their children going to school at home virtually. And you're talking about getting the word out there, relationships, that type of thing in terms of business. It really has broadened the perspective of a lot of brick and mortar businesses that were quite comfortable in what they were doing and thinking, oh, we're going to be fine for the rest of our lives. And now they have to transition. And I'm thinking, yes, they're getting comfortable with digital marketing or marketing online. And how are they're now trying to transition, and how can I build a relationship? Because relationship to them is face to face. I touch and feel you, you come into my store, you buy it, you give me the cash in hand, that type of thing. Now they have to paradigm shift into, how do I collect the money? How long will it take to get the product to the person? Are they seeing the actual product? Building reviews, testimonials? How do I build a relate? How do I attract a virtual audience now to a store that they can't physically walk into? So how can you help persons to transition? I am trying to think like the person like that, but I mean,
I
I
think
do it. I do it, but I know how they are thinking.
Oh, 100%. I have older parents myself, right? And it's always like, oh, but is it safe? Oh, how do I do this? Oh, how do I get there? Oh, when it arrives or something's wrong with it. Like, I fully understand that situation. I think what's been kind of interesting as well is if you watch the trends of how Facebook is evolving and Instagram is evolving and all these social media channels are evolving, they're making it easier to shop right off of those platforms. Right? So you can set up a Facebook shop, for example. You don't need a full website anymore. You can set up an Instagram shop. You can set up a Google shop. So you have different ways to get in front of your audience without having to necessarily have a full out website and still sell your product, right? So that's where you kind of start to tie in the relationship side of it, which is, okay, if I'm looking for people to buy from my Facebook shop, let's say, then my content that I post on my social media needs to give them that want or that desire to be affiliated with me and do business with me. So now it becomes more, again, back how it was almost, 50, 60 years ago, which is it's all about the story. The difference is where the story is posted.
Yeah. And you said
right?
something.
So before you used to pick up the magazine, Reader's Digest, the newspaper.
Yeah, you said something there that is significant, and it actually validates what I have been saying to people. COVID, the pandemic, the change in the environment has forced us to go back to basics, Sanju, back to basics. It's like all the things, if all the hygiene, washing of your hands is something you're taught at home, you're taught at school, coughing and something and disposing it properly. These are things we're supposed to know. So I am like, why are the health authorities having to remind us about what we're supposed to do anyway? So here we are going back to basics in business, in learning to deal with people. Probably what has been happening is that the technology has, while it's good, it has actually separated us so much that now we are forced to find ways to connect. Connect once again. Yeah.
And that's think about it, right? When you're at home, even at night, I'll be sitting next to my wife. Right. And I'll be sending her a message. I'm not talking to her. I'm like, hey, did you see this? It's not like, hey, did you see this? And flip your phone around. So it's completely changing how social lines work, right?
Yeah. It is forcing us to be uncomfortable, going back into the basics, remembering how we used to connect with persons on a real level. Because watching something in a magazine and placing the order, I remember those little, a little coupon kind of little cards that would have come in there. You have to fill it out, mail it in. And I don't mean mail as in email. I don't mean mail as in email. I mean mail as in go to the post office.
Carrier pigeon.
You don't know when you're going to get it. It takes forever. But now with digital marketing, I can actually relate to you, just like how I'm talking to you here now. I mean, we could up the digital marketing game, Sanju, by actually coming on a, because you have live chat. You can even have a video chat with a customer. I haven't been seeing anybody doing that. I know they do the live, like text
The
chat, but you can, I guess, do the video chat with a customer. It all depends, and be able to engage them in
Well, I
conversation.
mean, doctors do it, right? For part of their
Yes,
screening.
yes. So we have to up our game and we have to find ways to bridge that digital divide and connect, really connect with the customers. So we're talking about it's not just a website because we know, Sanju, from the time you put up your website, or like in my case with some things, people, I publish people's books, they feel from the time the book is on Amazon, everybody knows that they're there. I mean, the swarms of people are just coming to buy. And by tomorrow, they are a New
Yeah,
York Times bestseller. Everybody knows.
yeah,
But that's not the case. So tell us why.
yeah.
Tell us why that having a website is not the be all and end all. You create it, you pay somebody, you do it yourself. It's not it's not the end game. What happens? Why are you saying to people it's not just a website? What do they have
So,
to do?
so it's interesting. I have a really long the whole digital marketing thing, and I associate it back to dating.
Nice.
And
Let's hear it.
and part of this whole process, the biggest thing is, when you're getting ready to go out on that date, as a lady, the first thing you put on your face is your foundation,
Yeah. Well, I
right?
don't wear makeup,
So
so yes, but
understanding
I know.
that your website is your foundation.
That's right. That's right.
And you don't need to.
Good.
But the foundation of your whole digital marketing strategy needs to be the website. So
Mhm,
that in itself is a whole different topic, which is, how do you find that balance of a website that looks very pretty versus gets
mhm,
to the point and sells things, right? And it's a bit of an art form.
mhm,
But the reason I say that that's not the only thing is because, putting up a website is like printing a business card. If you don't give it to anyone or tell anyone it's there, it doesn't matter. It's
that's right.
irrelevant, right? You're just going to sit there and then just hope and pray that someone finds you. So that's when we start to look at, if the website is done properly as the foundation,
Yeah.
is how do we start to add the bricks, and how do we start to kind of put out the signs in the front, and how do we get people to, stand on the street corners and flip the arrows and say, come on in. And that's now looking at your full digital strategy, which is your SEO,
Mhm,
how your social media looks,
yeah.
looking at the branding side of it, looking at how we're going to actually get out there and be a part of different websites or build alliances. And how do we use all these pieces to grow our business, right? So on social media, it's how do we get influencers or people to talk about us?
Mhm,
On Google, it's how do we write blogs for other sites or get other sites to recognize our product and review them?
mhm,
For overall lead gen is how do we provide value back to the person who may be purchasing a product or service
mhm,
in a way that differentiates talks to the brand or that authenticity that you want to have behind that brand.
mhm,
um People having storefronts moving to online, it is helpful, right? Because you have a bit of a brand established.
mhm.
But if I sit there and I go, hey, listen, I'm going to sell sanitizer tomorrow online, and nobody knows me, it's a whole different ballgame,
Well,
right?
first
And
to
that's
begin,
where we start to look at how, just like, again, with traditional marketing,
yeah.
is how
Well,
do we
first
create
to
voices and create alliances.
Well, you are not the only one selling sanitizer. Can I tell you? That's the other thing. Everybody else is selling sanitizer.
Exactly. Yeah.
So even if you just wake up in the morning and
Yeah, so
decide to
why is
sell
yours better,
sanitizer,
right?
yeah, there are lots of other people selling sanitizer. So that's another thing. What will make you different from everybody else? What will make you different? So when you put up your website and think, oh yes, it's the most
And
beautiful,
that's
everybody, nobody has one like mine, nobody's doing what I'm doing, everybody is just going to come for my services, my products, I'm going to be rich, everybody's going to.
yeah. Well,
No.
yeah, and that's the tough part, right? Is
Yeah,
associating that out. And
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm listening to you, Sanju, I'm listening to you.
Essentially, that's where it comes back to telling the story, right? Leveraging your social media to tell the story,
Mhm.
leveraging your website and your SEO to tell the story. Because as much as I may sell sanitizer and my brother may sell sanitizer, we're not the same sanitizer, right? We're not the same person. As much as I'm a realtor and the guy next to me is a realtor, we're not the same realtor, right? We have different goals. So I think the first part of it is really taking inventory or understanding of who you are and what
Mhm.
you want to do,
Mhm.
and then leveraging that to get the messaging out there and get people to understand why your sanitizer is not about the sanitizer, it's about the feeling, it's about the story behind it, right?
What? Let me tell you something, Sanju. You're saying something very important there. The story. Now, I have spoken to persons about their website, and when I tell them about the story or suggest to them about, I say, "What's your story?" Because your story translates into the branding, into the message, into the look and feel, into the experience of your
Yeah,
website, or even your social media presence. It tells a story without you putting your face or
yeah,
even voicing it. And
100%.
most of them don't have a story. I just want to make money. I don't know if you could turn that into a story, Sanju, but they just
Yeah.
they do a website and they don't have a story to tell. Even if they do have a story, they don't know how to tell the story. They don't want to put themselves out there. It's
And
like
this is
how
more
you
than the
see,
website.
yeah, you see how we are out here visually, we are speaking, people are hearing our voice or seeing us. They are not doing this. They are not engaging with person. So when you have your
A
Facebook
lot of
page,
people are put
when you have your
right. A lot of people are
Facebook
putting the
page, you're
cart
not
before the
doing that.
horse.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So they're putting the cart before the horse. They're going and saying, build a website, go, 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 go. But they're not thinking it through, saying, okay, why am I building this website? What am I going to do with this website?
Yeah,
Why do I care? Do I even need this website? Why do I need it? Can I just sell
yeah,
on Amazon? Can I just put it onto,
yeah.
Facebook shops? Can I, is there a way to do it differently until I prove the model? So I think, and then what happens is people burn their budget building a beautiful website and then don't have money to actually see the whole vision through, or don't, or, kind of run out of that steam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're putting the cart before the horse. I hope people are listening, or when they do listen to this recording, they will realize that they are putting the cart before the horse. And they need to think it through. And the same questions you are raising, do you really
Yeah.
need a website? Why do you need it? Some people just do things. You don't necessarily need it. You don't. It's not because everybody's doing it. I remember, Sanju,
Yeah.
when social media came out, everybody felt they had to be on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Periscope, this, that, Instagram. I'm like, what? You don't have to do all of these
No.
things. you do. You don't. You don't. And they feel, oh, everybody, all the Sanjus are running to Instagram. Let's go over there. We need to create. Everybody's running to Facebook. We need no. No, help them, Sanju. Give them
Yeah.
some tips.
You
What I want you to
you have
share
to
is
be
like a
very
case
strategic,
study.
right?
Yeah, do like a case study. If you have a business, a
So
particular business.
what
Yeah.
what I would come back to that with is
Mm-hmm.
sure. So one thing I will say before I get into that, with the websites as well, and with the social media side of it as well, especially from actively. So, like TikTok came out, or now, Clubhouse has come out, or things like that have come out. The key is to establish and secure brand. So get the handle, create the account, let it sit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you only have 3 hours a day to spend on social media, let's say, you don't need to put something on everything for the sake of putting it. You need to
Yeah.
put it only on the platforms that your people are actually paying attention to. But at least if they do migrate into one of the other ones, you're secured. Your brand is secured. So again, it's a bit more of a strategic thing on the top end. Even from a website standpoint, if you're going to go build a website, if you take the time to think it through, you'll realize that certain things like a Wix site, a GoDaddy site, sometimes even a Shopify site isn't right for your business. Because
Mm-hmm.
long term, when you actually build this out, you're going to have to scrap all that time and effort and actually build it out in a different way anyways. So why not, if you're serious about it, build it out right up front,
Yeah.
right? And kind of scale as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So um, we tend to be very strategic with it, right? And that's why I kind of say that the website isn't the The main part of it, the strategy, it's a key part, but it's not the main part. The main part is making sure that everything is in place so that when you do put that website live or you do take it to market, it's actually going to do something for you or start to gain traction.
Yeah, yeah. And do you set out what you would like the website and even those other supporting strategies to do for you? Do you decide from before, I want my website to be able to bring in X number of visitors, so many uh, free consultations, if you have a booking engine on there, you want your social media to build up to probably 500 followers in a 6 month or 1 year period, whatever, you set a sort of timeline. What do you call them? Smart goals. Do you suggest people do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And it's not necessarily about hitting that goal. It's about knowing where you want to get to,
Yeah.
right? So, a simple thing like, I want to build my social media up to X amount of people, great. But understanding what goes into doing that to actually get there, right? And that's
Mhm.
$1 in sales tomorrow. Good for you. I'm gonna put $10 into ads. Not so good for you, right? So it's a matter of making understanding of what you need to do to get there. Can you do it? And kind of making sure that it's there. By having these goals, both revenue, target, whatever it is, there's also a realization of as you're growing, things will shift. So you may have a great 3 months and then a really bad 4 months. But you have
Yeah.
to understand why that's happening and be
Hmm.
be willing to pivot or change on those numbers, right? Is it a new competitor that came in? Is it you had a lot of people who had a bad experience? Like what is it? And being able to pivot what you're doing accordingly. So I
Yeah.
think that's a big piece that people are very they don't kind of put the blinders on and say, nope, this is my goal. I'm only going to do this, but it has to be a bit more fluid.
Yeah. You said something a while ago about where your target audience hangs out. A lot of people are not able to figure out where their target audience hangs out. And first to begin, they need to know who their target audience is. Do you have a sort of example from persons you have worked with, or even in your business, to kind of share a target audience so that persons who are listening can
Yeah.
identify with probably they may have a similar target audience and what they need to do to find out where their target audience is hanging so they don't end up taking on all the different monsters of social media.
Agreed. So what I'll do is because it's a larger audience on your end, I will keep it more generic. So let's say a restaurant.
Mhm.
A restaurant, that where you need to be is Instagram, definitely, because everyone's on there looking at pictures, right?
Mhm.
Facebook for your slightly older audience, right? The guys who started with Facebook and just that's all they use. But then you need to start looking at different things like does TikTok make sense?
Mhm.
If you're a high-end restaurant, it probably doesn't make
I
sense,
don't
right?
think so. I
If
don't.
you're a mid-sized to a fast food place, it might make sense,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and it might make sense because then you're actually showing the process of how you make the food. Maybe you put a quick recipe, or you show the chef flipping the omelet, or
Mhm.
whatever it is, right? And that
Mhm.
kind of makes a cool video. But those are the two areas I would probably stick to. Now, if you're a restaurant that does catering, then
Mhm.
that's when you start to look at things like LinkedIn, and the
Mhm.
admin guys and the people who make those decisions are on LinkedIn. So now
Mhm.
you create a campaign or create content targeted towards catering towards these people. So of
Mhm.
all the platforms out there, you really only need three. If you want the TikTok,
Yeah.
cool, four, right? But that's the maximum
I,
of it.
no
Of which your
TikTok.
LinkedIn and your Instagram content can essentially be the same.
No TikTok here. No
No TikTok,
TikTok here.
done.
No, no, no.
Gone.
No TikTok in here. No TikTok. So,
Oh, okay.
no TikTok. For the restaurant that
All
me and Sanju run in, Gang and
right.
Lani. This is Gang and Lani restaurant. We're not going TikTok. Okay? We're not. No, no. LinkedIn for sure,
Done.
Facebook, and
Sold.
definitely Instagram. No TikTok in here. Okay? Thank you. So,
So, which is beautiful,
yeah.
because you just narrowed it down to two pieces of content, right?
Mm, yeah.
Which is now one piece for Instagram, LinkedIn, one piece for Instagram, Facebook, one piece for LinkedIn. So you
Yeah.
just made your life so much simpler.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would make sense for you is, hey, listen, I know I'm going to post 3 times a week. I
Mm-hmm.
want 2 posts. I know what they're going to be for the next quarter because this is my menu. And
Mm-hmm.
one post every week I'm going to put up that's fresh content. Now, what you can do is go back and spend a weekend and schedule the whole quarter out on
Ah,
social media and not
yeah.
have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, when
right?
you post it,
So there's ways to kind of make it so it doesn't become a chore.
yeah, yeah. And we know that is what it is. It becomes a chore. And let me tell you, social media can overwhelm you. Just the thought, Sanju, overwhelms you.
100%.
So you have to break it down, people, to keep it simple
Yeah.
and easy. And I always say consistent. Now, I'm saying all of this, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I am not as consistent. It happens. Don't beat yourself up. It happens, and that's okay. Just come back on the bicycle
Yeah.
and start riding again. It's okay. Just come back on. It's not a problem. Just come back on and try to be as consistent. Just keep trying until you get into the habit. Another thing I want to
I
ask
agree.
you do, if persons are not writing their own blogs because they might say I don't have that skill or
Mhm.
I don't want to be doing
Yeah.
anything social media. They have to outsource it. Can they come to somebody like you, or are there persons out there that they should outsource who can do these things for them so that they could focus on the
100%. I
side of
mean,
the business? Yeah.
so the way you love what we love to do, and then this is sort of our sweet spot, is being able to come and have clients come into us and let us handle everything. So we become almost that outsourced marketing department, right? Where we handle everything from the brand strategy to the content writing to the social to the lead
Okay.
gen.
Okay.
And we're able to recommend what works in terms of
Okay.
budgets to make sure
Mhm.
that they're maximizing their output.
Okay.
Now, if that's not in the budgets or they're still, kind of building and want to wait a little bit, there are
Mhm.
many places out there, that you can do a quick search on that will have a little more cost effectively for that budget.
Mhm.
Or you can work with maybe some freelancers locally, right? And sometimes you'll find a student or a
That's
freelancer
right.
that is willing to help
Yeah.
out just to grow a portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you mentioned that, I want to be able to hop over to your website. Let me see if I can do that. Let me open a page here. Tell me your website again, Sanju.
AskUsForAnything.com.
And those are words. Ask us for anything.com. I
Yeah,
am
those are words.
definitely that
Yeah.
is a very tricky domain. Ask us for anything. Hmm.
As
Ask us for anything.
long as it's legal, of course.
Hold on, let me see if I can share it here. Oh, let me make sure I have the right window selected. Is this you? We create extraordinary branding. Ask us
That's
for
me.
anything. Well, for sure, you're pretty big and bold out there. We
Yeah,
create
we've done some crazy
extraordinary.
stuff.
So, so tell us now, give us a guide as we are closing off on this episode, this interview here with you. What would you like me to showcase here on your website? I see you're doing a number of things here, just as we
I
mentioned.
mean, we have a few places that you can show, right? I didn't get a chance to get into it, but there's a case study on the website.
Mhm.
There are samples of our work. There's a little bit about us and some team pictures,
Mhm.
so you can kind of get a feel of who we are and
Mhm.
what we do. And just have fun with it. And we have our own podcast as well that you can catch the episodes there as well,
Oh,
and
let's
different
have a
things that you
look.
can play around with. But it gives you a good idea of sort of a good cross section of what we do and how we do it.
I'm looking through. So you have some nice testimonials. You have social proof posted there.
Yeah,
Um, I want to see
yeah.
how
We're
can
a
they
Mailchimp partner.
contact
We're a
you?
HubSpot partner.
Okay, you're a HubSpot
There's a
partner.
contact button on the top. Yeah,
Let me see. Let me switch here. There's
yeah.
a contact button at the top. I'm not seeing that.
So if you go to Ask Us,
Oh, that makes sense. I'm
if
just
you see
used to
Ask Us, yeah,
contact.
that'll have all
Yes,
the content.
I'm used to contact us, not ask us, but this is the Ask Us
Yeah,
Anything
we
website.
like to do things a little differently.
A little bit different. Ask us. So you put in your name, email,
Yeah,
phone.
we like to do things differently.
Yes, I could see that. And I click quick send and you can book
Yeah,
an.
or if you'd like on the right hand side, you can book them right into a calendar.
Oh, you can just go straight into the calendar here and book a time. Nice.
Yeah, and I'll give you a live calendar you can book it to.
Yeah, and this is where you're located. So you have offices Toronto,
These are
Mississauga,
all the locations
Charlotte.
we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And the meeting time here is for how long? And is it free or is there a cost?
No, there's no cost at all. We love to chat and see if we can help you. Anywhere, I think it's 30-minute, 1 hour slots that you can book.
Nice. Let me see if I can come back here. You have a story, Sanju. You have a story. So you're not telling people to create a story.
Yeah, so that's our bio a little bit.
Yes, you're not telling people to create a story and you
We
don't
practice
have
what we
your own.
preach.
Right. So if you want to see what a story is
So if
like,
you just go through that and at the bottom.
yeah, right. And you are Sir Sanju gang&lani. Tell us what the Sir is about.
I am.
You
I
are,
was knighted back in 2019.
are you serious? By whom? Tell us, spill the beans.
Yeah. It's an order out of Poland, in recognition of the community service that we do and the work that we do with women and entrepreneurial women.
So you're Sir Sanju gang&lani. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Some chai.
That's right. That's
I'll
right.
take my tea, please.
I love it. I love it. This is good. So this is good. So persons who are working with you, you're working with a knighted gentleman here who knows how to treat you properly and build relationships. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Make sure you have your finger up when you're
Awesome.
doing all of that.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. I appreciate it.
Yes, it's been good having
Darling.
you. It's been good having you on Between the Lines. I had so much fun. I had so much fun and sharing and,
Same here.
really
Same here.
encouraging persons. Yeah, encouraging persons in this year and going forward. And a lot of people, Sanju, are saying, when are things going to go back? I really don't know about the going back to anything. We have to realize we are going forward and we have to adjust and be flexible and recalibrate. And all what we are used to is no longer. Any final words on that? And in terms of business moving forward in the digital era, any final words?
I would say be prepared, be ahead of the curve. As we see vaccinations come out and things start to return a bit, you need the help from will be way too busy, or you'll miss the boat, and it would be a shame to do that. And I think sort of taking advantage of the next 2-3 months is a great time to kind of get ahead of the curve and get ahead of your competitors to make an impact.
Be ahead of the curve. Take note, people. Be ahead of the curve. Thank you so much, Sir Sanju gang&lani. Thank you so much for being here on Between the Lines.
Thank you. I appreciate it.